Hi, it's me. Well, welcome to my new panel. Thought I would introduce you to it. It doesn't look that different, but it really is quite a bit different from the old panel. We'll kind of start on the left side and work our way to the right. First, well, the clock works. Yay! Tick, tick, tick. Oh, all right. The old clock didn't work. All right. Now, the airspeed indicator is the same. You see, there were the old 6 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, actually 8. But there's a bunch of holes over here, and the the Garmin G5 this is the primary flight display. Instead of having, although there still is the airspeed indicator over here, there is an airspeed tape over here, providing you a digital display that you can see. You can simultaneously see the plane's attitude and the airspeed and the altitude over here. So this is the vertical speed is on this scale over here. This is pitched up 500, pitched up 1,000. This is pitched down 500, pitched down 1,000 feet per minute. And so you can see that the current airport elevation is 340 degrees, assuming that the barometric pressure really is 29.46. It has a built-in GPS, and so it thinks that it's moving at one knot, which it really isn't, because it's actually standing still right now. Now beneath it is another G5. It's an identical instrument, but it's configured to be a horizontal situation indicator. It looks, or it should look, similar to the old gyro heading indicator, but that thing preset was never accurate for more than 5 minutes at a time, and then it would kind of wander off. And this is always accurate. It can display either the magnetic heading or the GPS ground track, and this is where it'll give you a course. This is where it'll give you courses to follow. Now over here, is another altitude indicator. So this is a second altitude indicator. Altitude indicators are just barometers, so they're completely independent instruments, and they'll work even if one will work even if the others. And we have airspeed and the backup airspeed. We've got this bottom attitude indicator will take over if the top attitude indicator fails. So if this fails, this will turn into an attitude indicator, which is pretty cool. That's just like the big boy planes. And so now this becomes a backup vertical speed indicator, completely independent. This is the second VOR. The first VOR would actually be displayed inside the horizontal situation indicator if I had a VOR tuned in, and this is blank. It's got space for more buttons and toys. So this is the audio panel and the Garmin 430 GPS. So there's this controls the 2 radios, so we can listen to both at once, and of course we can only talk on once with microphone talking on COM1 or microphone talking on COM2. This is telling me that that my obstacle database is not available, an aviation database is not available because I pulled the cards out in order to program them with the overpriced Garmin database subscription. But it does, when it fires itself up, it does a little test, a little self-test. It says the course deviation indicator to test is supposed to be half to the left. And if you imagine yourself looking at, if you the course deviation indicator, here we are looking at the course deviation. Imagine yourself looking towards the, if this were at the top, I guess I could spin it around. Let me see if it's on GPS, so I can't spin it around. But if you imagine this is at the top, then this would be on the left. And there's other self-tests going on. It says that the vertical course deviation indicator is half up, and so here it is over here. This little purple triangle over here is half up. So this heading indicator turned itself into a full horizontal situation indicator, where it will show the deviation from the desired course, which is dialed in here, and it'll show the distance to the next waypoint, and simultaneously display the heading bug, which can be adjusted by twiddling that knob. So this self-test we're going through on the GPS. And we'll hit enter key again, and it's starting to dial in some satellites, and it finds itself in. Oh, there's a little message. What does the message say? It probably says, "Where's my cards?" It says, "My obstacle database is not found. All data is referenced to True North terrain database is failed," because again, we took out the little cards because I have to update them. This is the second radio. It's the same as the first. This was here already. So the Garmin 430 became Radio 1 and VOR 1, and then the old radio that was in became radio number 2. And and there's the old buttons that you would dial in. You would tune it with these, and then flip-flop between the active and standby frequencies over here. You got good at that. Start this. Now, we had an autopilot before, but this is the replacement Garmin autopilot. The old autopilot, it didn't really work very well. It would track a heading, but it wouldn't track an ILS, the instrument landing system, and it wouldn't track a VOR. It just didn't work right. This actually works. I can control the heading bug that's on the horizontal situation indicator, also with this knob, and select an altitude on with this knob. If the pilot suddenly has a heart attack and becomes incapacitated, all the passenger has to do is press the little blue LVL button, level button, right over here, and that blue button will cause the plane to be stabilized at a steady course and a steady altitude. It just holds the current altitude and holds the current course and flies nice and straight and level. So by choosing approach mode or nav mode or heading mode or GPS track mode, it'll just follow. It'll either follow the VOR or course, or it'll follow a GPS course. It'll follow the
a given heading, if you choose that instead. And if you press the approach button and you're in the final approach segment of an instrument approach, it'll fly. It'll actually be driven by the glide slope or glide path, and just fly the plane all the way down towards the runway. There's the autopilot on and off switch. The flight director we don't use very much. It's like it simulates an autopilot that it just gives you commands to hand fly, and the yaw dampener is optional that we don't have. This little knob is the up and down control, so that if you want to change altitude, you just tell the system whether you want it to change using vertical speed modes. That's the most common, and then dial in a vertical speed. So if you want to ascend at 500 feet per minute, you just press just dial in the altitude you want, hit the vertical speed button, dial in the vertical speed change you want, and bippity boppity boop, it'll pitch the plane and go towards that altitude. You just have to make sure that there's the right amount of power, enough to climb, or not too much if you're descending. So this over here is where that automatic directional finder used to be, which never really worked, and it had a blank panel that I covered with Marty's numbers that he helped me prepare. And these old engine gauges for the cylinder head temperature and the exhaust gas temperature are the same, and the meter, this is like the odometer for a plane that tells you how many hours the engine's been running. So with this new avionics, we get new circuit breakers. The couple of new circuit breakers over here, and all the circuit breakers over here have been labeled. So that's more or less it. I hope you enjoyed the tour of my panel. Talk to you later. Bye bye.